I'm Joe Syntax. I'm sat here with
Lung.
Mr. James Lung. We're just down at Plan B in Brixton, ahead of our first med school night on October the 11th, 2013. So then, James, you've just finished your album.
Yeah.
How did that come across, like, creatively? Was it a long process?
It was quite a long process, actually. It was quite a long process, actually. Probably the best part of a year, I would have thought, from the actual... Well, you can go as far back as that with where some of the tracks actually started.
Yeah.
In, like, demo forms and stuff like that. But I think, all in all, it was the last sort of 6 to 8 months where it really started to take shape as an album. And I'd written about sort of 5 or 6 tracks that I thought, oh, this is cool, this could be something bigger than like an EP, something that I could work towards, and it just became an album quite naturally, something that I'm pretty happy with now that it's all finished. Yeah.
Sounds wicked. Congratulations.
Thank you. Cheers. I mean, so that was basically what I've been doing for the majority of this year. But what about yourself? What have you been up to in 2013?
Been up to a mixture of stuff. On the music front, I had a wicked number of gigs towards the beginning of the year. I went out to Asia.
Nice.
That was really fun.
It was a mini tour, wasn't it?
Yeah, I played Singapore, Bangkok and Hong Kong.
How was it?
It was amazing, yeah. Completely different vibes playing anywhere in Europe.
Cool.
But apart from that, I've been really busy in the studio, continuing to learn Ableton, because I was on Reason last year.
Yeah.
And it's been a big switch up for me creatively, finding my workflow. But and yeah, just making lots of new tunes.
I mean, I don't know about you, but when you got into drum and bass, for me personally, one of my favourite tunes, and talking with specific regards like Hospital records now and stuff as well, one of the tunes that really kind of ticked all the boxes for me and got me interested was Return of Forever by High Contrast. Are there any artists within med school or hospital that have kind of, I don't know, influenced you on what you do?
I think that's a good question, and when I moved to London about 7 years ago, I came to study in London. I wasn't massively into drum and bass as such. I was into the more sort of experimental ninja tune stuff,
Okay.
Warp Records. So Eamon Tobin I was really into.
Nice.
And he made quite a few jungly, not so much drum and bass, but very much on the jungle experimental side. But I was always into that sort of 160, 170 thing.
Yeah.
But when I moved to London, Hospital was a big night already.
Yeah.
I think I went to one of the last Herbals.
Yeah. Oh, right. Okay.
But then I started to go to Heaven. Med school really caught my ear in around 2006 with Marksman.
Yeah.
And even Random's early stuff, you know.
Like Blind and stuff
Yeah,
like that.
yeah,
I was
yeah.
really into that.
I think the first New Blood had Marksman on and Random, but yeah, that was a wicked EP. So
Yeah.
very much influenced by that. So to progress and actually become an artist, you know, within that label is pretty cool.
It's quite surreal as well, isn't it? You know, I never really expected that, so it's amazing to be part of that label now and that group of people.
What's the thing you most enjoy or maybe get out of from producing alongside other people, like on a technical or creative level maybe?
I think the main thing, it's not so much the technical side of things. I mean, when you work with producers, I mean, like for instance, Alex Sunchase, fantastic producer, and I've been a big fan of his since I got into drum and bass.
Yeah. And that was a remote operation, I'm guessing.
Yeah, you know, I mean, like he's based in Ukraine, and I'm down in Cardiff, so we did it all over the internet. But it was really good. 'Cause I mean, you pick up a lot of things technically along the way, of course, but I don't ever see that as the most important part.
No.
I think the most enjoyable aspect of collaborating with anyone for me is the opportunity to work with like-minded people and create something that, you know, you might not have actually been able to write on your own, especially when they come from a different kind of musical background and stuff as well.
Like Fella,
You know, I mean, Matt he's classically trained, as far as I'm aware. Sorry if you're not, Matt, but I think you are. And, you know, he's got that real musical sensibility about his music that I've always related with.
Yeah.
And I think for that reason alone, you know, let alone the fact that we've known each other for a while and we get on quite well, it was just great to put our heads together and come up with something, you know? And Rach, of course, I mean, I've worked with Rach a few times now. Part of it is thinking, oh, why don't I work with someone who I wouldn't necessarily work with and making yourself do it.
Yeah.
'Cause I mean, for instance, you know, on Sightlines, you worked with John McCleary, didn't you?
Yeah.
Who's Ninja Tune, I believe.
Yeah,
is that right?
he's on Ninja Tune.
Because that's quite an interesting collaboration.
Yeah, definitely.
You know?
I think in his last single, because that was a few years ago, but his latest single,
Yeah.
he's using a producer, sort of two-steppy garage kind of vibe, but
okay.
he's sort of moving away from the acoustic. But I think his voice really lends itself to a bit more electronic sort of.
Yeah, definitely. But,
Stuff.
I mean, I loved that track in particular. I mean, Signal Drop is great as well. I love that. But Sightlines had a really nice, like emotive feel to it as well, and I think that was complemented a lot by his vocals.
Yeah,
and
no,
stuff.
Jono did a good job.
Yeah. Since signing with Med School, we signed within months of each other in 2011, wasn't it? Which has flown by, actually.
Yeah.
How do you feel that since signing with the label, how has that kind of impacted on what you do? You know, the label's ethos, or the kind of musical structure of Med School as well. How has that affected how you go about doing what you do in the studio?
I think probably more than anything, I started to realise that I needed just to improve my mix downs. I mean, it's probably the same with you.
I can relate to that
It's,
one in a big way.
Because I hadn't released on many sort of high-profile labels before I signed. I had a couple of good releases,
Yeah.
but I think it's about the consistency, getting the consistency right. But
Yeah,
then
definitely.
that's why I moved to Ableton, really.
Since working with the guys at the label, having that input, you know, quite involved in your work, but in a good way.
Definitely.
In that it helps you really hone in on keeping that musical aspect there, but really fine tuning it so that you're getting the best result you possibly can out of everything.
Yeah.
And you know, I mean, with the way we wrote the album, you know, I wrote the album and stuff. Like having the A&R sessions along the way really helped with crafting the tracks into what they became at the end result. I love writing at different tempos, and the album format was the perfect kind of opportunity for me to explore that, you know, and taking the influence from these other things, you know, like hip hop and other forms of electronica and stuff like that, garage, that kind of thing. It was just really nice to experiment and take what I knew from these other genres, and what I liked about these other genres, and kind of apply them to my own stuff, you know, and see how it panned out, you know. Just experiment.
You've got 100 BPM, what, 130,
Yeah.
140?
Yeah, 160 as well.
So you've like, you're going up by tens.
Yeah, kind
Now.
of.
You've got quite a busy gig session
Yeah.
schedule, should I say?
I'm really pleased. It's got busier around the album release and stuff, which is great. So I'm going to be at Hospitality in Brixton on the 27th, and then on the 11th, Plan B, right here, for the first standalone Med School night, which I don't know about you, but I'm really excited about that, because
Me too, man.
I know we've been talking about it for a long time, like when are we going to have like a Med School night, like just in itself, and
I think
it's
now
really great.
there's like got Etherwood on board, so there's
Yeah.
a few more artists can get involved in it, which
Yeah,
is
definitely, like UK
always
based at least,
helpful.
isn't it? You know, and it does help. And Barefoot will be playing as well, won't he? Doing the kind of 140 slow jams, which I love of his. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to that one in particular. Just because it's a great opportunity for all of us to kind of hang out and just catch up and showcase what it is that we do and what the label's about.
Yeah, rinse it
And,
out.
Yeah, it'd be cool, you know, totally within its own context. So I'm really looking forward to that.
You've just finished your album Less Suspense,
Yes, I have.
as I mentioned.
And I've brought one along with me, Jim.
Oh wow!
It's right here.
Oh wow! Cool, man. Looks cool.
Thanks, man.
I like the photography image that you made.
Thank you. It was, I kind of did a little sort of Photoshop mission on it. I took a few different photos down a couple of places near where I live,
Yeah.
and I photoshopped them together. And then Ricky Trickart, with his very capable hands and skill and technical wizardry, kind of put the stuff together. You got that on the back there as well.
Nice. Playing
Overall,
about to
very
crash.
happy with it. Yeah, well, hopefully not. Hopefully it's a nice, enjoyable plane ride into the sunset. What can we, as in you, expect from you, as in us, at the Plan B show on October the 11th? What can they expect?
Well, I'm going to play some tunes.
Cool.
Play a bit of a mixture of stuff. A lot of new stuff, I hope. I
Yeah.
should have a lot of stuff mixed down by then.
Good. Yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing that, man. Like,
got a nice Function 1 set up in here as well. So.
yeah, no, I noticed actually. It's pretty large.
Yeah.
Should be good.
But yeah, like playing across tempos, like in between the 85 and 170 spectrum, really varied.
Cool.
But yeah.
Well, likewise, man. I'm going to be following a fairly sort of similar path to you. A lot of the 85 BPM halftime stuff. Might draw for a couple of the classics that kind of got me into what we do in the first place. But that's one of the good things about what we have with the artists now on the label and stuff, is that it's quite an eclectic mix of different people, but they're all kind of bound together by that same sort of core mentality. So the last question, if you weren't writing music and like pursuing your career in music and stuff, what would your dream job be?
I think I'd probably want to be a celebrity chef.
Okay. What, Jamie Oliver-esque, end of the spectrum?
More like Gordon Ramsay.
Yeah, no, I think that'd be pretty good.
Yeah.
Although you're not so much the angry type though either, Joe. Like you're quite calm and chilled out. Like do you reckon when you're in the kitchen that side can come out and you can get like crazy pissed off with them?
I think so. Yeah. I think Gordon Ramsay's a very successful chef. Doing American Master Chef and stuff.
Yeah.
So you'd probably just become angry for being in his position.
Yeah. No, I could imagine.
Yeah, see you on the 11th of October, over and out.
Go to the Med School website, which is medschoolmusic.com, and you can find where to buy tickets and all that sort of stuff, or go to the Facebook page as well, and there'll be a link on there to the event and the tickets. So we'll see you guys down there, to an Australian, and we'll look forward to it.
Peace.
Bye.